Time to get mini. Well, hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for hanging out with me again today. On this video, we're going to get the 94 Monte Carlo Rally Mini. It's a long name. On the M05 chassis built. Don't have time to run it today, and weather is not favorable. Lots of thunderstorms rolling through the last couple days, and again today. Hopefully later on this week I can get it out for a run along with one or two of the other ones. But today is all about building this. So as normal, what we're going to do is we're going to cut to the photo montage, get everything out of the box, go to once over of it, get it all built, and then I'll come back and share my experience with you and obviously the built car. Well, here is the finished car, and it looks really, really great. You know, overall, it's just a really cool looking little car. The body posts are a little long, so technically the ride height is, you know, up here, and that's to allow the full suspension movement. But for display, I like it a little bit more tucked. So when I go to run it, I'll raise the bottom clips up one, and then once it comes back inside, we can lower it back down. But the body turned out really nice. Overall, the front and the rear, when it comes out of the box, the body is really squishy. But adding the hard plastic bumper, grill, all that stuff on the front and the rear really kind of stiffen that up and make it a lot more rigid. We'll come back to the body in just a minute. The chassis, bone stock M05. This is the short wheelbase. So basically, as you're going through the manual, you're kind of building, and then you get to a point where it's like, okay, you need to make a decision. Are you making short wheelbase or long and medium wheelbase? And then follow the instruction flow from there. Short wheelbase is easy. It's, you know, 4 or 5 steps that you jump into, and then you continue on with the build. It's just setting the wheelbase. Overall, nothing really spectacular to say about the build. It goes together easy. There's no real gotcha moments. Now, I will say there are a few things that can be improved. The steering rack and the front C-hubs have a lot of play in them. So you had a lot of excessive up and down play, which there is still some, but that is basically full droop to compression, and it's mainly in like the linkages and the slop in the shock shafts, or in the eyes of the shock. I'm sure you could tighten that up a little bit. You know, when it's sitting on the ground, you're not going to have all that. But there was a lot of up and down movement in the on the C-hub. So you have your spindle down here, and it was just doing this inside that C-hub. Now the steering had a lot of flex, and what that allowed was a lot of this. Now I am forcing it to do that, but before it was doing that freely. It was just click, 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 click. So what I did is I used the tried and true trusted Teflon shims. Their Traxxas 1985 is the part number. Go on Amazon. You can find a bulk package of them for like 100 for like $8-9, and you know, you'll be able to shim out dozens and dozens of cars with those. So the first part was I took the top screw off of the C-hubs, put a shim underneath there, and put it back down, and that kind of helped tighten up the slop a little bit there. The main part is this steering rack. If you take the two screws out of here, and you pull that pin out that the bearings ride on, you can put a one shim on the top of each of those, put the post back down, screw them back down. Now, you may, when you screw these down tight, it may feel just a little bindy. Just take them off like an eighth of a turn at a time, and then get it to where it's free moving, and then just leave it. That should be fine. And then if it does get a little sloppy as the shim wears out, you can always come back in, give it an eighth of a turn, tighten it back down, and tighten that up. The rest of the slop up there is just the ball cups on the ball studs, and you know, the suspension linkage, and like I said, the little bit of play in the shock eyes where they are screwed on. It is what it is. It's not going to be perfect, but adding the shims does help. Now in the rears, the rear wheels literally were going ticky, 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 ticky. The axles are pretty long, so I think I put 2 shims, 1 or 2, I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's verify that. Yeah, there's 1 shim in the front and 1 shim in the rear. So there's 1 shim behind the pin on each one. So basically, put your washer on, or put your shim on, put the cross pin through, put the hub on, bolt your tire to it, and then when you put the tire on, it may drag just a little bit if it's locked all the way down. Just crank it loose just a little bit and test it, and you can get it to where there's no play, but it's still free rolling. And it did the same thing on the front. I think there's one on the fronts as well. And that, just those shims tightened up everything enough to where it's not going to want to wander on you. And like I said, it's not going to be perfect, but it is a great starting point, and it's super cheap, easy fix. You can have hundreds of those things sitting around waiting to go, and they fit on a lot of Tamiya cars. So they work great. Otherwise, the upgrades I did put the mini CBAs or super mini CBAs. I don't remember exactly what they're. I'll put the part number down here. But if you just build them up completely stock, no spacers or anything, the short shock ends on the bottom, they are the exact same length as the shocks that come off here, and you're going to get a whole lot better ride not having the big pogo shocks on there. I think that's it for as far as the build. I did put the Sport Tune motor in it for a little bit more speed. Kit 1060 in there, radio link, the radio link receiver in it. And that was it for mods. Other bearings and shocks are the only things that I put on here. Now the body. The body came out really nice looking. It is a fantastic looking kit. Now when you are, so basically you have to tape off the roof so you can paint that white. Then you have to tape off the fender flares, the fenders on the front and rears to paint those black. So what I did is I taped off the roof, I taped off the fenders, and then I went out and I sprayed the body red. The red that goes on here is fairly transparent, so you need to put at least 3 coats on there to get even coverage. I think I used the entire can. I think it was 4 coats. Then I unmasked the roof, and I did the roof in the white. Now, I do not use Tamiya white anymore. I've had way too many problems with it bleeding, especially darker colors into it. Now, I know you're supposed to do light to dark, but sometimes that's just not the way it's going to go. So I used Traxxas white on there, blasted 3 or 4 quick coats on the roof, as well as the inside of the body to keep the red nice and bright. And then once that was dry, which the Traxxas paint, 15 minutes and you're ready for another coat, I peeled off the fenders, shot everything in black, and then the final thing, peel off the window mask, and I shot 2 coats of the smoke on the windows. So they are still transparent, but you really can't see into the car. There's no interior, so why do you need to see it? As far as the rest of it goes, everything else is how it's supposed to be, except for the front lights. The front lights are chrome, and that's how they come in the kit. But you're supposed to strip them down and paint them black. I really didn't want to, so they are still nice and chrome up front. All I did was just screw them on, put the little Lucas stickers on there, and that's the way we did that. I was not going to strip them down and deal with all that, and I like the look of the chrome, so that's the way we went. Now this kit does come with the standard stock grill, so if you do not want to make the rally, all you have to do is put the different grill in, and then just put the front and rear bumpers on there, and you have a bone stock Mini Cooper instead of, you know, the full rally kit. And you can paint it up however you want, and you don't have to put all the livery on there. Now, the sponsor logo, decals, all that stuff went on very easy. There was no real gotcha moments with any of those. Everything kind of goes in place, and it's really easy to line things up. You don't have anything overlapping, so nothing is dead critical that you get it perfect. You're just trying to get everything as straight as possible. The taillights could be a little tricky for some. Overall, they're pretty easy. Just you cut the fronts off, and then the side and top and bottom are a completely different decal. You put this one on first, and make sure you put the little slits in the side. It indicates it on the sticker. You put the little slits in the side, push one down, push the other down, push the third one down, and then you come back and wrap it with the outside. And it turned out really nice. You know, over time, they're probably going to lift. But for right now, they look really good. The only one that I goofed up was the window sticker. I don't even know what this little graphic is in the window. But it's a little high. It should have come down a little bit more. And it's a little higher on one side than the other, but close enough. The one thing I did have to do is the instructions tell you to cut this bottom out straight all the way across. I had to put this little notch in there because these little nubbins here stick out. And the only way to get it to cover under is to push the body all the way down to where the tires are sitting inside the wheel wells. Can't drive it like that, and it looks silly. So basically, had to cut the little notch out of the center to kind of relief cut around those. Now, it's kind of sitting on them, but it's not rubbing on them, so it's fine. The front is kind of rubs on the bumper a little bit, but what I did is the RC bodyguard kit that I got had extras to it. Just dead space where they, cut a piece out, but there was a chunk left over. I took the chunks and lined the wheel wells, lined the side of the body here, because the side of the body does rub a lot on the battery compartment. So you definitely have to put something here or you're going to rub right through your paint. I also did it on the, where the body mounts are, and right up underneath this front lip where it does rub on the bumper. So, kind of super thanks to Jules and the crew over there for sending over the RC bodyguard and including enough little extra bits to protect the inside. Now, I do have a kit coming for this eventually. As soon as he gets everything finalized with it, I'm getting a kit for this. I am going to take it out and run it and risk it, but hopefully I'm going to keep my senses about it and not go too crazy and roll it. But I do have a kit coming for this, so I can wrap the whole car with the RC bodyguard and then see what I'm sure they're going to have the internals, because like I said, it's obvious these are going to rub out really fast on the side of your battery trays here. Other than those tips, that's about all I can think of off the top of my head. I think I was going to mention this earlier. Taping this roof edge off is a little tricky. Coming down the sides, pretty easy. Going around the curved front and the corners, it gets a little dicey. You do get white vinyl decal to go all the way around the roof edge, the bulge of where the rain gutter is. That way, if your lines are a little weird or you kind of don't meet up perfect with your tape, you do have that as a fallback to fix that. Now, if you don't do a white roof, good luck. You're going to have to really do some tight cutting and handy dandy tape work there. But for box art, the little white vinyl graphics in there work out very well. So I'm sure a lot of folks are going to get these. Like I said, the overall, everything went on very, very well. Of course, you do have like the headlights have little surround decal on them. The little turn signals up here, like a dot in the middle with the surround. Those are a little tricky, not too hard. I didn't have any issues with that. Basically, put the headlight lenses in first. If you have any like little tiny crinkles or anything, just hit them with a little bit of heat from a lighter, hair dryer, heat gun, whatever you're using, and that'll help smush those down. And then just you got to eyeball the surrounds on all of that. I really don't have any good tips with that, other than don't smash it on as you're going around. Just kind of get it on, and if it looks good, then start pressing it on. That way it's easy to peel off. If you do get a little wonky and it starts going, it'll either go a little too far inside or a little too far on the outside, and you'll have to peel it back up and kind of work it back around again. And then again, hit it with some heat, press them down nice and tight, and they should stay stuck right where they're at. So like I said, hopefully I will get this guy out for a run sometime later on this week, but I wanted to get the build video out for you guys. Like I said, not a whole lot of tips for the chassis build, I guess. But just give you guys an idea how it goes together. Chassis goes together great. The body is where you're going to put all your time and effort into, so just take your time with it, do the best you can, and have fun with it. Anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Everybody out there, as always, you guys be happy, be healthy, be safe. I will catch you guys on the next one, and that should be, as long as the weather holds out and I can get a run in, that should be the Sand Scorcher. I got the bodies done for it. All right, guys, everybody take care. I'll see you guys later.